Batman Superman, World's Finest issue 19 finds Superman battling Jax-Ur through the skies above Gotham. The villain reveals that Batman was just sent to the Phantom Zone, where he himself has been watching Superman for decades, watching him sink to the level of the native Earthers and squander his powers. Jax-Ur proclaims that Superman is to be killed so he can become the last son of Krypton. In the Phantom Zone, Batman is reunited with Alfred, who communicates with him telepathically as he tells Bruce that the LA inhabitants of this place call it the Phantom Zone, and it was used by Superman's race to exile criminals incapable of reform or remorse. Jax-Ur meanwhile tells Superman that he saw the walls of the zone weakening and small breaches began appearing every now and then. Alfred knows that these breaches inadvertently swallowed him and several other Gothamites. Jax-Ur says that he used his great intellect in order to find the pattern in the breaches and use them to get revenge on Superman. Alfred tells Batman that Jax-Ur put Riddler under his telepathic control and made him draw in Superman so he could switch places with the hero, but he didn't count on Batman being there and instead grabbed the Dark Knight, thus leaving Superman alone against a killer Kryptonian. Superman meanwhile smashes Jax-Ur out of the city, demanding that he stop this fight. He can tell the villain is weakened, telling him that their bodies need time to fully charge from Earth's sun and the killer is no match for him. Jax-Ur agrees, using his heat vision to cut a cable car full of people from its track, knowing that there are other ways to keep Superman at his mercy. Superman rushes to save the people but finds that Jax used the chaos to escape. Batman manages to contact Superman via the telepathy, figuring if Jax-Ur could breach into the real world with his mind, so could he. Bruce knows that the villain is hiding and building his powers, but he has an idea, hoping Superman is good at geometry. Minutes later, Batman figures out the math behind their plan, telling Superman to lock his position and momentum. He knows that Superman was particularly triggered by Jax-Ur, learning that the Kryptonian is a mass murderer. Superman says that Krypton's rulers were xenophobic people and forbid traveling off-planet, but Jax-Ur defied them and made his own ship, which upon testing it, crashed and destroyed one of Krypton's populated moons, killing tens of thousands of people, which then caused the leaders to double down on their ban on spacecraft, which in turn prevented his father Jor-El from building rescue arcs when he learned Krypton was about to explode. Superman sees Jax-Ur is partially responsible for Krypton's destruction and the deaths of billions, including his parents, and that's why he's struggling to keep his rage in check. Batman understands how he feels, but assures Superman that they are ready for him this time. Superman screams for Jax-Ur to come and face him if he dares, dodging through the villain's attack. Jax-Ur, however, knows that Superman has set a trap and already has calculated the next dozen Phantom Zone portals and where they will open. One begins opening behind Jax-Ur and he reaches into it, grabbing Batman and throwing him into the air. Superman quickly catches the falling hero, telling him that he was so sure this plan would work. Batman is still confident that they can get one up on him since they are fighting a sociopath with a grudge, which is very much his lane, so they need to think like him. Superman doesn't know if he's capable of doing that, but Batman knows that Superman is aware of what motivates Jax-Ur, the rage against his captors. He asks if there's any other Kryptonians on Earth, and Superman knows where the killer has gone, as in the Fortress of Solitude, Jax-Ur uses his heat vision to slowly cook the bottled city of Kandor, telling the people inside that they will pay for Jor-El's sins. Superman grabs the villain before he can do any real damage to the bottled city, as Batman is contacted by Alfred, who tells him that they might have found the cause of the portals between the zone and Earth, finding a strange cloak alien being with some sort of orb-like device in the zone. As soon as Alfred sees him, the being disappears, but the butler knows that he could return, however he's not in any danger. Batman wants to deal with one problem at a time, heading to Superman's armory. He tells Alfred that he's way out of his element, but his friend tells him that while he's still young and learning, he's nothing if not consistent. Superman continues to try and fight Jax-Ur around the fortress, trying to grab the villain to take him away to an unpopulated world he can bring down around Jax-Ur's head. The villain, however, grabs Superman's cape, flinging him down into the ground again and through the statues of his parents. The quakes from the battle allow Batman to locate the Phantom Zone projector as Superman drops the Titanic on Jax-Ur, but the villain catches the boat, tossing it aside. He cracks Superman in the face with his knee, telling him in combat Superman is no match for him, and it's what happens when he wastes his days mistaking kindness for power. Jax-Ur smashes Superman down into the fortress crystals, telling the hero that he never learned to fight, instead touting himself as the world's savior. He wonders who among the people he saves will save him now, as Superman calls for Batman. Jax-Ur spots the hero with the Phantom Zone projector, smashing through the crystals and grabbing the hero, tossing him down a crevice as he rips the projector in half. However, he finds that the device has no inside technology. Suddenly, the zone opens below him and swallows Jax-Ur up as Batman returns to Superman, thinking the hero's idea of repurposing the innards of the projector's circuitry into the crystal floor was genius. Superman helps his friend up, knowing that he pulled the plan off just in the nick of time. Batman, however, thinks that Superman needs some hand-to-hand combat, and it begins next week with him, as later, the heroes free all of the people of Gotham who were stuck in the zone. After getting them to safety, the heroes corner the Riddler, with Superman giving him one of his jokes that no one seems to appreciate. Batman warns Superman that Jax-Ur's telepathic torment of the Riddler made the villain a bit more benign than he usually is, and it's a Gotham rule that even the city's clowns are more ruthless than Metropolis's world beaters. Superman, however, is more concerned with the alien Alfred saw in the zone, but there have been no more rifts since his disappearance, but he wants to keep an eye on it going forward. Batman asks Superman about his parents, and if them being killed is why he does what he does, to avenge them. The Man of Steel, however, does it to make the world a better place, where no one has to feel abandoned or alone. The sun rises and Superman thinks that Batman's shift is over and his is about to begin, finding it a pleasure to work with the Dark Knight. Batman makes it known that he doesn't normally trust people with powers, hoping that the hero won't make him regret it. The heroes go their separate ways, as sometime later in the present, the hooded being returns to the Phantom Zone, finding the zone to be an incomprehensible hell, and what soulless monster would allow such suffering. He looks at his strange orb, knowing that as Ether the Messiah, he will not allow it, and no matter how long it takes or what sacrifices it will require, he will release all of the damned souls from the torment of the Phantom Zone.